Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Create Invent podcast live stream end of the year extravaganza. I'm here with my co-host, Jeremy S. Cook from jeremyscook.com. And Jeremy tells me we're going to jump right into the coffee break today because he doesn't want to forget to record it.
No, that's exactly right. Last time it was amazing because we realized we hadn't done it, and my battery was about to run out. We literally within 5 seconds it just went dead. So
oh yeah, I clicked done recording, and then your screen went black and said no battery.
Yeah, but listen, we're gonna try to take this seriously this time. I know sometimes we have a bit of fun with it. We do appreciate you guys' patronage. That's awesome. So Carl, always appreciated. Patronage?
I keep saying patronize.
Well, thank you for patronizing us, I guess. Carl, I saw you Tuesday. Pat didn't see you because he lives in Texas, but, so hello again. Hope you're listening, and thank you for your patronage. Michael Sizer, thank you as well. Raptor, Stuart Morrow, Brian Moses, and Positive Waves. Thank you so much for your support monetarily. It's much appreciated. And, of course, you can give us a thumbs up or watch our podcast. You can give it a thumbs up right now as you're watching. That's awesome. Pat, just in case people want to know, where would they go if they did want to patronize us?
I'm going to tell you, Jeremy, I just went to the website just to make sure I don't read it incorrectly. If you would like to donate a small amount of your monthly paycheck to the Create Invent podcast, you can go to patreon.com/thecreativity-podcast. All one word, no spaces, no weird punctuation or anything. But you don't have to do that. I don't want to make you feel awkward. I'm very happy if you just like this video or this audio wherever you're listening to it, whatever kind of like or comment you could leave. I'd be excited about that.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the other thing I was thinking about, I was watching PBS the other day, or my kids were, and I was in the room too, and they mentioned you could donate your house to PBS. So if you want to donate your house or other valuable assets to the Create Invent podcast, and well, I don't even know.
Jeremy, I could hardly maintain my own house.
You're right.
Now I'd have to maintain a house and a half.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Jeremy, I'm getting nervous. You're giving me anxiety.
But we do have the bad investment level of patronage. We got the plastic level, aluminum, shack steel level, and then I think probably bad return on investment level. I don't know.
I should know these names. I'm on the plastic level.
Oh, okay.
You don't read my name off.
I don't usually. That's just embarrassing.
Did you know my wife was mad that you stopped reading her name? And then she realized Patreon got confused with her credit card and she just hasn't been paying.
Oh, well.
So.
But yes, if you don't pay, you don't get a shout out. Although if you asked nicely enough, we would probably give you a shout out. So hello, Chris.
Oh, I totally would.
And of course, Patreons help make the show possible, or at least encourage us. But the other thing that definitely makes the show possible, I mean, it's an interview show, so we have had some fantastic guests, Pat. I mean, I think we maybe just wanted to kind of maybe give them a shout out. Just think about what we've gone through this year. We had in episode 54, Alex Cour. He talked about making your recording space more better, and that was
more better.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
It's Alex's fault that my audio is improved in here, but that's because he came in the room here and he helped me out with I don't know where to point, sound panels, and he's the reason I upgraded to this particular mic.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we enjoyed him. He did a great job, and as you might suspect, his audio was fantastic. Although we have lots of audio people on here.
No, it wasn't. He was talking on headphone.
You're right about that, because anyone we have on related to sound, generally they have problems. It's very strange, but it is what it is. His background was nice though. That was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a cool background.
Then after that, we had a live stream. We had Maker Mike Sizer called in, one of our Patreons. So it was very, very cool of him.
That was fun. We talked to him about
he was making
monitoring.
Yeah, he was making a sensor array, basically trying to put a bunch of cheaper sensors together to make something more awesome. So I don't know where he's gone with that. I hope, if he's listening, he'd call in and tell us. Maybe
if we were smarter, we could have collected some of this data. We could have Googled it before today, but we're not We're professional, but not that professional.
And after that, we had Stephen Hawes on here. Well, he did man, he was a fantastic guy. It's, I told somebody, I was like, I went into the interview a little bit skeptical about the whole thing, but man, that guy convinced me that he was.
What whole thing?
Oh, sorry. He makes an open source PNP, pick and place, like picks and places components, and it's basically like an automatic assembly machine. But after talking to him, I was like, wow, this guy's the real deal. Now, that being said, I wasn't as convinced as Pat because, well, you can tell us about that, Pat.
I bought one. It's right back here. You can hardly see it. I should put a light specifically on it. But Steven's done a good job. I hope he'll come on and talk to us again because I'm going to goof this up. I goof this up every time. Mine's the version 2, where it's just a bunch of components in a box. Version 3 has a bunch of upgrades, and it's ships in like 3 big pieces pre-assembled. So you have kind of flat packs, and then I spend a weekend putting mine together. And now you spend like an hour or 2 putting them together.
Nice.
And it sounds like he's doing a good job.
I'm sure he is doing a good job. So yeah, we should we'd love your suggestions of who to have back on, who new people to have on. There's very few people on here that we wouldn't want to have on again, but unfortunately we only have so much time.
Yep, I've been trying to get Jeremy to not come back, but he just keeps showing up.
I keep showing up. I almost didn't today because I kind of forgot about it until 8:15. I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, what is this appointment? It's Create an Event Podcast. Yeah. So after that, we had Zap Wizard, and he makes some really neat functional props. I did an article
like
on one of his things.
Prop style thing.
Movie props, exactly. So he did a Mandalorian throttle, and basically his big thing was he does a bunch of Pip-Boy props and stuff.
Yeah,
he also does some
the Fallout video game series. It's an arm. It's like a giant wristwatch.
No, he does some cool stuff. He also does custom knife stuff that he gets like 3D printed in China or something. It's very very interesting.
Shape Boys, I think. For
yeah.
What are those knives? Leatherman tools.
Leatherman. Yeah.
I'm not a Leatherman fan, Jeremy. I don't like the pliers. I have no use for pliers.
No, I like them. Generally
I'm a Swiss
speaking.
Army knife fan.
Maker Mike Seidzer, when he came on, he had one of the Leatherman wrist things. It's got like a bunch of tools around your wrist. And I think I might have had one on. I have 2 knockoffs actually, and I may have had one on.
How do you like them?
It's great. I'm a little ashamed at how good the knockoff is because it's I don't know. It's amazing. So it's great when you're riding your bike or you need to like adjust something. You just got it in your wrist. You take it off. You make the adjustment. It doesn't have a pump though, so if your tires go flat, then you're out of luck.
Do you have a portable pump?
I don't carry one with me. I probably should.
My battery powered pump is huge. It looks like a drill, but it's fantastic. Don't know where I'm going with that. It just it seemed to fit.
And then after that, we had who do we have on after that, Pat?
We had my friend Hash was on talking about hacking smart power meters on your house. The box that lives outside your house that keeps track of how much electricity you've used. He talked about general reverse engineering and whatnot. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The interesting thing about that interview was I felt like there were 2 things that I thought were interesting. He's an interesting guy just generally.
Do you know how many times you and I have just said interesting?
Probably a lot. But the one thing is I felt like he was his speaking was so polished and he was so on message that I almost felt like some guests you have to kind of prompt, and I feel like you have to kind of like lead them through the conversation. I felt like he was so good that I actually had to kind of try to throw him off just a little bit so I could get something, like a little wacky out of him. And he did a great job as you'd expect.
He really did.
The other thing, I didn't even mention it during the interview, but I actually worked for a smart meter company for a while, so he's probably like taken apart some stuff that I've been involved with. I worked for Itron, and they make smart meters and stuff.
He told us who makes the smart meters. He's been they're the ones we use here in Dallas because he's not my neighbor, but he's a short drive from here.
I mean, there's GE is one of the big makers. Itron, trying to remember who else. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he was a good guest, and we liked having him on.
I enjoyed our next guest after that, Jeremy.
I did too, and he was a audio focused guest as well. I can't remember if his audio was good or was bad.
It was fine.
I think we did.
It was normal.
I think we had some issues though. That's the thing. We gotta We got to build them as non-audio people, and then
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
he took out his headphones and left during the coffee break, and when he came back, things were goofed up or something. That's how you know he's an
Yeah.
audio person.
Yeah, but no, it was cool to have him on. Basically,
You
the
didn't even
guy's
tell us
name's
who he is.
yeah. Oh, sorry. He calls himself. He goes by Midierror. So like your MIDI machine, it's got an error, Midierror. Somehow he's adopted that name, and he's proud of this, and I think it's awesome. Actually, he had his own podcast for quite some time where he'd interview. I think it was called Midierror Meets, and he would interview different creators and stuff. He kind of put it into that, not because he wasn't being successful, but I think he just didn't have time for it. The last guy he had on to his podcast, I think you know who I'm talking about, right?
I do. It was Fatboy Slim, is what you told me.
Right.
Is that wrong?
No, you're right about that. And his name's also Norman Cook, no relation to me, as far as you know. The interesting thing was, my wife and I were watching this documentary in Woodstock '99, and all of a sudden Fatboy Slim's on there, and I'm like, I know a guy that knows a guy, and it's kind of like, wow, it's like a small world. You know what I mean?
You're Kevin Baconing.
I'm Kevin Baconing. Yeah, exactly. So he was great. And then our next guest,
As always, our next guest was fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt Perks from DIY Perks, right?
Yeah, Matt Perks.
Can you believe I can remember these in order, Jeremy? I'm impressed with myself.
It's amazing that you can do that without SoundCloud up, where we broadcast from. But yeah, Matt Perks, aka DIY Perks. He was, as you would expect, he was fantastic. He probably inspired me to try to step up my my video game as far as how it looks, because he doesn't claim to be that good at video, but he is quite good.
His quality's always fantastic.
Yeah.
And I keep saying I'm pretty sure he's the nicest guy on YouTube. But I have a feeling that Stephen Hawes of the Lumen PNP, they might give each other a run for their money. I don't know who's in the lead. And I don't know if it's a contest either.
Yeah, they're very nice. I think Stephen's maybe like slightly more enthusiastic, maybe. I mean, they're both pretty enthusiastic though. But somebody's got to be the winner. But that doesn't mean he's nicer.
I'd watch their show on MTV.
If they were like,
one,
if they had
or
like
wherever they would have one. VH1,
would they do like
I don't know.
roommates or something and just hang out?
Oh, like a sitcom. Okay.
Yeah. What show were you talking?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe like a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we can. So after that, we did what? What did we do after that? We did a live episode.
Another live stream.
Yeah, and then Mr. Forbits joined us. He was a great guest. He introduced us to Zardoz. It's quite weird. Anyway, besides apparently being a fan of wacky '70s movies, he also has a store on Tindie. Sells what is it? 4-bit Industries. This is his thing. So I actually saw him on Tuesday, same time I saw Carl, and he said that his sales are doing pretty well for for the Christmas time and holidays in general. So
there are 27 holidays between the end of November and the middle of January. I don't think it's 27, but it's a lot. There's a large number. And I wish I'd known that longer, because that's a lot of things I could be celebrating. That's a lot of excuses to party, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and you like to party, Pat. I saw you were.
We like to party.
Hey, speaking of that, I saw. So not that I'm stalking you, but I saw on Discord seemed like you were active at like 7 a.m. my time, which is like 6 a.m. your time. So have you switched your sleep cycle? Are you now nocturnal?
Some stuff happened, and then my friend Brian had shoulder surgery last week. And he asked me and Chris to come over to send his son to school in the morning. So I just stayed awake until we went over there at like 5 a.m. or whatever it was. And then I've been upside down officially ever since then.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
I'm trying to flip it back around. This podcast goofed me up because I had to be awake for this.
So you just woke up. Did you set an alarm for this?
I set an alarm, but I beat it by 15 minutes. I was awake on my own 15 minutes.
Well, I'm very, very proud of you.
For those who don't know, because most people are probably going to listen to this after it's published somewhere, it is 10 to 8 p.m. 7:48 actually, exactly.
Right, and where Pat is. Here it's 8:48, so, in Florida.
Yeah, Jeremy is from the future.
From the future.
I get all my stock tips from Jeremy. He sends them to me, and I put the orders in an hour early.
Yeah. Yeah, our other guest, our last guest, Pat,
Our final guest of the year.
You're going to have to give me a hard time about this, but I was supposed to release the podcast today because, third Thursday of the month. I guess we're just doing a live stream day. But Anthony Garofalo, or Proto G, he came on and talked to us about his, basically, he works for Jeff Bezos' space. Blue Origin, right, exactly. And, man, he was a great guest, too. We had him on in episode 10, I believe. Is that right? Quite some time ago.
Well, I wasn't here yet on episode 10, so I'm
You're
a
right.
little fuzzy on the... I can tell you exactly the dates of all the ones I was involved in.
He was on episode 10, right after Laura Kampf, and right before we had Will Smith on from Foo VR, not the guy from the movies and such.
Not the Fresh Prince.
Not the Fresh Prince. Yeah. So anyway, we just we had a great year, I think. As far as people have come on, we just want to say thank you to everybody. It's really, really great and pretty awesome. I guess we had some other things to talk about. You got any goals for 2023, Pat?
Oh, do I have any? I don't know if this is a goal, but the last year I failed to come up with something. A few years ago, I learned to fly FPV drones, quadcopters, and that used to be hard to do. It's a lot easier to do now, but I thought that was an interesting skill. And then a few years later, I learned how to ride an electric unicycle, and that's a weird, unique, challenging skill. I want to come up with a new challenging skill to learn.
What are you
Hopefully
thinking?
Hopefully a useful one, but something challenging, and I've not come up with a new one. Somebody suggested juggling, but I don't. Maybe you suggested juggling.
Is my mic muted? Did I mute myself when I coughed?
Well, you're talking. I hear you now.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was trying to mute myself because I coughed. But anyway, yeah, I think I did suggest juggling, so you could be a juggalo. But that's not what that means at all. I don't think.
Yeah, my wife learned to solve a Rubik's Cube. That was kind of cool, but I can't steal her thing.
Yeah, I can't steal her thing. Well, do you have any other ideas that you might pick up?
I have none. Does that make this a terrible segment? If I have none, no challenging skills?
No, that's okay. Well,
but I'm
what were
hoping
you?
that the viewers can tell us, listeners can give me a suggestion. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm not good at having these solid goals. I know for the Butter What show, we wanted to make sure we did 4 episodes. 1 episode a week every week, and we decided to change our format, and we haven't gotten back into it. We stopped in November, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we had holidays and surgeries and things going on, so we slowed down there. But I wanted to make sure that my video and audio got better every time we recorded, and I think for the most part that was true. I had a few setbacks, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back every now and then. But I hope I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. No, it looks good for sure. I mean, you look how it's improved and stuff, and if you're watching, Pat's video is definitely better. His audio, I think, is better. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I've taken ever since I rearranged the office. I've taken a step back, I think, because my sound panels don't work as well in this corner as they did when I was sitting in that corner over there.
Okay.
But it's not much. I noticed the difference, but I bet nobody else does.
Yeah, I don't know. As long as it's consistent, I think between
yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my goals. I actually write down my goals. I'm not going to show everything, but it's
Oh, nice.
one of my goals for 2022 was to improve the podcast. So hopefully I've done that. I don't know. Got some paneling up there, which may or may not have been there last year. I don't quite remember.
I see it up there.
Yeah, and then I'm using my Sony camera, which is a vast improvement over my webcam. So that's good. I got a bunch of goals. You want me to tell you some other ones that I made let's see. So,
and I'll tell you if they're good ideas or bad ideas or achievable or whatnot.
Okay, well I don't have my 2023 goals made out yet, but I got the 2022. You can tell me if you think I did a good job or a bad job.
Okay.
So
I can do that.
So yeah, I said 1 new customer platform, and I did right for them, although I haven't really heard much back from them in the last few months. So I think maybe hopefully I didn't offend them or something. There was.
Yeah, maybe that's a step forward and then back.
You want to know why I think I might have offended them?
Only if you're willing to tell us.
Well,
is this hard-hitting journalism?
It's
or
it's somewhat hard hitting. I don't know. It wasn't. So anyway, I was on a conference call with the customer and all these people. I've basically written something up for them, and somebody's like basically telling me, oh well, this needs to be in there, this needs to be in there, and then he says, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I'm thinking like I'm pretty sure I have this in here. He's like, well, maybe it's in later. As we go through the whole thing, and I said, well, you haven't read it, and. I don't know. Maybe this guy was important or something. I don't really know. But whatever. Maybe not. Maybe they just got busy with other customers. So, but I just, you just wonder what goes on behind the scenes sometimes.
Yeah. Well, are you bummed out about this, or are you okay with it?
I'm pretty much okay with it. So it's
Okay.
fine. Oh, one goal that I had, like kind of added it later, was to do a new JC Pro Macro 2 with the hot swap keys. Well, that I didn't quite do because I was going to do the Kickstarter toward the end of this year, and they rejected me. And I just thought it.
Don't tell us too much about the macro pad, because we could spend 5 minutes talking about the macro pad, because I have questions.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll just say I didn't quite get my Kickstarter that I was hoping to do. I was also working on something I call a zone clock, which basically has a PCB behind it. It has all the different time zones on it. And it's like I've gotten that done, but I haven't put a video out on it yet. So I don't know if that's what do you think? You think that's a success? And it needs some improvement. So you think this is a success?
Can I buy it yet?
No, you cannot.
Can I purchase it?
No. I don't know if I'm going to.
No?
Okay, so I'm doing a bad job. So
I don't think you're doing a bad job, because you've accomplished all of the hardest work. And now it's finishing touches to get a product out the door. So I think you've done a good job.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But
I should get signs. Good job, bad job. I could hold them up as your.
Yeah, but I mean, that's good. I lost a little bit of weight this year, so that's good. My goal was to get
Nice job.
consistently under 240 pounds, and I've been weighing like 238, 239 or so. So, for me that's pretty good. I'm pretty tall, so that sounds like a lot of weight probably to most people, but to me that's a pretty healthy weight.
I think that's a good job.
Yeah.
I don't understand how tall you are, because I only see you on the internet, and that doesn't help me.
Yeah, well, I'm 6'4", or 6'3" in a little fraction. So.
But that's just a number.
That's
Jeremy.
Yeah,
I used to work somewhere in a cubicle farm, and there was one guy who was really, really tall. Like this was when I was, my first real job. So I was in the little tech support cubes that are only about this high.
Right.
Sitting down, So if you go to talk to your friend, you just lean over their cube, like this.
Right.
And then there were, on the other end of the room, there were tall cubes that, you and I, we could peek over them. You could get your nose up there.
Yeah.
And look over, like from Home Improvement, the neighbor from Home Improvement. There was a guy that was so tall, he would walk up to those tall cubes and just put his arms up on them and talk to people.
Oh wow.
And I don't remember his name. I don't remember what he looked like. I just remember he was really tall.
Well, I remember I worked with an engineer, and he was probably 3 inches taller than me. He was very tall, and we walked in. It was like one of the supervisor's offices. We were both in his door, and the guy says, "Man, I have never been so intimidated." But
yeah, I'm not as tall as you, Jeremy. What am I, about 6 foot, maybe 5'11"? I don't know.
As far as I know.
But I do know that when people are taller than me, it's disconcerting. It doesn't happen. I don't stand in front of people and talk to people who are taller than me often enough that I feel weird when I look up when I'm talking to make eye contact.
Right. Yeah, not I'm taller than most people.
Yeah, like an inch or two probably doesn't matter, but if you're up a little bit, I feel weird. It just doesn't, my brain doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know. It's nice being.
My goal for 2023 is to be 3 inches taller.
I saw you can do that. Apparently, they break your femur. It's like very painful. Have you seen this?
You can have very long legs.
Yeah, basically, it's like like the opposite of that guy on King of the Hill. What is the name? Cotton, I guess, right?
Oh yeah.
Cotton. He had the tiny legs.
He lost his shins
in Korea
in the war
or something, Vietnam.
Yeah, it's a good show. I watched about half of it this year.
Was Hank Hill, was he supposed to be one of the characters from Beavis and Butthead, like the guy that drove his...
He's almost that character. I mean, officially he's not, I don't think. But, I mean, he's drawn very similar, and the voice is similar enough.
It's amazing how much Mike Judge has has done.
Mike Judge's stuff, it's all fantastic, too. In one
In
way
one-
or another. I did not watch the new Beavis and Butthead movie. I'm terrified.
Oh, I didn't know there was one. When did that come out?
Oh, there is one. But we should get back to that when we get to talking about...
Oh, yeah, movies.
Because we didn't finish your goals
Yeah,
here,
okay.
Jared.
So, yeah, I've got some other goals. I said keep plants alive and harvest fruit. That's kind of like a, not really, sort of.
I saw a tiny fruit on the internet.
Okay, yeah, I did get some Barbados cherries, so that tree is still alive. So I have kept some trees alive and some things I've killed. So, it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. I also, it's going to sound ridiculous, along with losing weight, I've been wanting to kind of like be able to support myself on my hands in a sit position, but I'm pretty sure I can't do that.
Okay, like putting your hands on the chair and push it up and getting off
Right,
the
or
chair.
like on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm thinking about, I don't even know, are my arms long enough to do that on the floor? Like, do they go below my...
I think it's...
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a challenge for sure. I also said I'd improve at the baritone ukulele, which I have done, and I'm not gonna prove that right now. But
I believe you. Why would you lie to me, Jeremy? I trust
well,
you.
yeah. I mean, I also went to space a couple months ago, so
Wow.
yeah, I didn't do that one.
Oh, you know what I improved this year,
What's that?
Jeremy? My eyesight. I'm using bifocals.
Really? How's that work?
Yeah, and they're fantastic.
That's nice.
It's amazing. I could see things at my desk on my monitors here without, having to do weird stuff, because that's what I was starting to have to do with my distance glasses.
Yeah, I should.
It was blurry with and without my glasses with just distance.
Well, I should probably get my vision checked at some point. It's always been like, I don't know, 20, 25, isn't that like, it's like close to perfect, but not quite perfect. At the same time now,
Well, as we get old, things
yeah,
get worse.
I mean, I'm using these, like cheater glasses, I guess, when I solder stuff. So, now it's a little bit harder to like focus on like stuff like right in front of me.
Yeah, that's a good reason to get your eyes checked.
Yeah, maybe.
Because a lot of people avoid it and just buy the reading glasses at the drugstore or the Walmart or something, but they're never correct. They're close, but not right, which is worse. Sometimes that's worse for your eyes.
Well, I got my eyes checked in, I think it was 2018 or something. Anyway, basically, I was having some problems, so I better get checked. And he did it, said it was fine. And he gave me an appointment or he said you should come get it checked again in 2019. I put it off for a while, and then it was 2020, and then, I'm not going to the doctor in 2020.
And now it's 2022.
And now it's 2022, so I guess I need to go see him. So, yeah.
I really like my new eye doctor. She's fantastic.
Okay, well,
but that doesn't help you.
If I visit Plano, you'll have to tell me, give me your...
Yeah, she's at the Costco.
Oh, at Costco.
That surprised me. There were all kinds of good recommendations. I was looking for a new eye doctor. I said, well, everybody says nice things about the Costco eye doctor.
Well, I do have a Costco membership.
You don't need they can't, there's laws or something. You can always get your eyes
Really?
checked, even without the
And
membership. I don't have a membership.
Could I get a hot dog and a drink for $1.50 too? While I was there?
I cannot, because I don't have the membership, I think.
Well, anyway, that's kind of a good segue into one thing.
I hear what you want to tell me about.
But I bought a sink, a faucet from Costco because our kitchen sink is leaking, so gonna have to figure out how to install that.
Yep.
But if it's anything like the bathroom sinks that I also bought from Costco, then shouldn't be too bad. I don't know. You got any thoughts about that, Pat?
I've never installed a sink. I've only replaced the faucets in the back. But that was
sorry,
a long time
the
ago.
faucet. Faucet is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
here.
not the whole sink. Just
So-
yeah, you'll have no trouble. The worst
Okay,
part is
good.
if you don't have the right tools to unscrew the. Yeah, because I imagine you've got to be upside down under your cabinet, squeezed in, reaching up, probably.
Yeah.
They have a special
Yeah, I
tool
guess.
for taking off those nuts. Because it's like a pipe. They're on a pipe fit. You can't just you don't have room for a wrench, and there's a tool for that I don't remember what it looks like at all. But if you have the tool, it's way easier.
Well, we will. I'll get to it when I get to it. It's being shipped to me, so Until then, I've got a pan under the sink, so that's.
Yep. We had a leak in our kitchen sink this year. It was the garbage disposal got a crack in it.
Oh, that's more. That's a bigger deal.
Yeah, and I don't know how to do that. We had a guy do that. It was not that expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the good and the bad thing was I called the plumber a plumber that I very much trust, and he said, "Oh, well, I'm going to be." The message says I'm going to be gone till December 28th. So I'm like, oh. So then I look at it and I'm like, oh, I can do this myself. So perhaps that would save me a lot of money. I don't know, or maybe it's cost a bunch of money. You'll have to ask me next time we talk.
Oh, you should have told us about faucets, because me and Brian were shopping for new faucets when he needed a new faucet, and he got one where you touch it to turn it on, so you could have dirty, filthy hands, and you just kind of give it an elbow, and that's genius. And there's other ones I liked that have a super strong jet in the middle. You know, you turn them on to spray. There's one that it puts a cone of water to keep splashes in, and it shoots like a laser jet water cutter stream down the middle, just blasts food off of things. But you can't get both. You can't get both touch and the super jet in the same. At least last year, you couldn't get the both in one faucet. I think both sound fantastic. I would like either one, and I don't know which one's better.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's.
I think you're going to do well, Jeremy.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate your confidence in me, and I bought a somewhat expensive sink or somewhat expensive faucet, but I feel like that'll be well offset by the plumber I'm not going to have to pay, or maybe not if there's a big leak and
Remember what brand you bought. Write it down or something, because all the fixtures that came in our bathrooms here, we don't know whose they are, so we can't replace the. We've had 2 different plumbers in the house since we bought it, and neither of them knew what cartridge goes in the.
Oh man.
So well, you have to replace them if you can't find the cartridges, right? So it's a.
Well, actually, I may not even write it down, because I think like if you buy it online, like Costco, you just have a record of it anyway.
You do well. Just make sure you don't. In 5 years, 10 years, make sure you don't forget, because that's when you'll need it, and that's a long.
I guess you're right about that.
And it would be if you write it on a little tag and put it under the sink, like tie it to the water line. Then the next owners of your house will be like, oh, it's a Kohler AB.
Or maybe it says it on the sink.
Or something, or whatever it is.
Maybe it says it on the faucet.
And then
somewhere.
They'll call you and praise you.
What else do we want to talk about? I know we had a few things we wanted to kind of.
I have a list here, Jeremy. I heard you've been playing around with stable diffusion.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a disaster. If
For anybody who doesn't know, stable diffusion is one of these new artificial intelligence things where you give it a prompt. You type in words like you tell it you want to see Rick Astley as a Garbage Pail Kid, and it will give you back a picture of Rick Astley as a Garbage Pail Kid. I have some of those. I was trying to put celebrities in, and I figured I could rickroll myself with Rick Astley.
Yeah,
but they came out fantastic. They looked like Rick Astley.
Oh, it actually looked good?
Oh my goodness, yeah. They were fantastic.
Well, my results have not been so good. In fact, you can see it on the Create, it's at Create Invent Pod on Twitter, the Create Invent Podcast, Twitter feed. So first I tried to do a stable diffusion image of, the cartoon Puss in Boots in a Zardoz orange bandolier, kind of think about our conversation with Mr. Forbits. And yeah, it turned out even weirder than you would expect. I mean, maybe not weird compared to the movie, but the first one looks kind of like a raccoon with it's like he's got cargo pants but on his shirt. It's very strange. And then
I get a lot of folks with 3 arms or the wrong number of fingers or eyes that don't make sense. But
yeah. Well, and then I thought, well, maybe we should have a new logo for the Create Invent Podcast, and I put that in, and the first one says Create Invent. I don't know, and then the second one looks like, I don't know. It's like, I guess I could say this because they're not real people. They look like, first guy looks like there's something wrong with him, and the second guy kind of does too. I don't know, but it says...
The first guy looks kind of like Ringo Starr.
Kind of.
Weird teeth.
Yeah.
And
But
he's a little bit balder.
it
Is
says,
Ringo Starr bald?
I don't think so. But yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, this guy is.
But yeah, it says create inane pout. So, anyway, my results have not been so good. So Pat, is there a way to get actual good results from this, or is it just a bunch of hype?
Yes, there are. Well, all those fancy pictures, you see really cool pictures on the internet. My understanding is somebody sits down and types things in for like an hour or 3 trying to get good combinations of words that work. Yeah, and then they ask for a couple of hundred pictures with the good prompt they finally come up with. Then they pick out the best ones and they run those through more filters, and it's a lot of work. But I've just been doing simple things. Like I was writing up an article about some things I was doing with tail scale. And blog posts are better if there's pictures in between to break things up. And there's no pictures for just stuff that's just software. So I typed in things like I needed a nefarious hacker stealing. So I was doing all kinds of weird little phrases like that. And I got all kinds of people in black hoodies with weird faces and little computers, sometimes running away with them. And I saved a few. They're fantastic to just throw in the middle of a blog post for a weird, it's where you would normally put a stock photo or something. You could put one guy had weird VR glasses. I can't say what some of the people looked like. It's not appropriate to say it, but it's not good.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess for something like that, if you're looking for like a weird hacker type thing, it would kind of make sense that would be I'll be honest, what you described to me, the glasses and stuff, I guess the first thing I think is LeVar Burton on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, they were not that streamlined. These were more like FPV goggles, but not on straight and weird. And he was holding them down like an old person looking through their glasses, I think. Kind of like one of these.
So not quite as... I guess he wasn't really supposed to be cool in the show, but not as cool as him even, on the show.
Yeah, no, not nearly as cool as LeVar Burton. I bet this guy couldn't even read. And LeVar Burton has his own show about
yeah,
reading.
LeVar Burton can definitely read.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
where are you getting your stable diffusion image? Where are you going to have them generated?
What do you mean? I just searched stable diffusion. Is there a better way to do this?
Well, I found something nice. It's called Stable Horde, HORDE.
Okay.
It's an open source project where you can join the Horde with your computer and your GPU, and I don't want to say customers, users like me. I could go to the website, I punch in my prompt, and there are lots of more settings. You can use different diffusion engines and different presets and stuff that I don't understand. There's lots of options. But they show you what some of them do. Like some of them will give you back cartoony art, some of them will give you back like anime stuff. There's all kinds of options. But when you put your prompt in and hit go, it sends that out to the people that are donating their GPUs to the stable Horde. And it's a crowdsourced setup, and they have a Patreon. I'm giving them a couple of bucks a month since I'm using their thing. I thought that was reasonable. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I'm doing it and I like it. So.
Okay, well, cool. So you've had decent results with stable diffusion. Better than I have.
Definitely better, but you got to keep adding words to it to get more. But it's not going to work with everything. Like you could put celebrity names. If you just put a celebrity name in,
yeah,
it gives you things that look a lot like I put a whole bunch of Dwight Schrute from The Office stuff in there. Like Dwight Schrute in weird situations, and you could tell it knows that Dwight is angry and has glasses. I mean, everything is angry with glasses.
But it's not him. It looks a little...
It's definitely not him, but you know that AI has seen Dwight Schrute, has seen images that are labeled Dwight Schrute, for sure.
That's funny. So, Well, I guess speaking of that, Pat, was there any movie? I'm just trying to think. Was speaking of TV and movies and stuff, was there something you want to talk about that?
This week I've been watching Andor,
Oh, is that good?
this new Star Wars show.
Yeah.
My friend Brian told me this is fantastic. I should watch it, and I'm not really enjoying it very much.
Okay.
It feels like there's too much filler.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to give anything away, but I'm gonna say that the way the opening scene of the fourth episode, I feel like that should have been the opening scene of the second or maybe the third episode. Everything before that should have been.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. I'm only halfway through. Maybe when I get to the end, I needed to know stuff from the first 3 episodes that seems like unnecessary world building.
Did you see The Hobbit, that movie? There was like 3 movies.
No.
Well,
I've read the book.
I saw the first movie, and I was like, this is really just like too much. I don't need to know all you riding around a bunny sled or whatever you're doing. It was just like nothing happened in this movie, and I think they had 3 movies in this. So I feel like there should be a rule or even maybe a law. You know, if you make more than 1 movie out of a book, then if it's not like really good each episode, then maybe you need to go to prison or something. Is that too harsh? I don't know.
Well, because I think it's okay if it's just not for you.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And they're expensive movies, though, so I hope they were enjoyed by a lot of people.
I'm sure they were.
That's
I was just
how that has to work.
Because I like the Lord of the Rings movies, but I felt like, well, it's one movie for one book.
One book.
You know, it's not like 3. It's but they probably made more more money that way. So anyway, you were saying you watched the new Bill and Ted movie, and you said it was kind of.
I did watch the new Bill and Ted movie.
Kind of disappointing.
Bill and Ted's oh boy, trying to remember the subtitle.
Face the Music, right?
Face the Music.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't. I watched. You told me you finished it because you were required to, I guess. So you thought
you have to. Yeah.
I watched.
It was all right.
I watched about half of it. I
had the same problem with the Bill and Ted movie as I do with the new Coming to America movie.
What's that?
They're both similar in that the movie isn't just about Bill and Ted, and it isn't just about Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. It's really about their kids.
Ah.
But it's not about one or the other, though. There's 2 sets of stories going on in both of them, and you don't need both. It would be a good movie with one or the other.
I see what you're saying. I thought Coming to America was a better movie than Bill and Ted's.
I finished to America.
Yes, the new Coming to, and the old one was good too. I didn't appreciate it, but I liked at first. But I watched the old Coming to America, and I like how he sees like the Wall Street guys from the other movie, and he like gives them that was hilarious.
Duke brothers. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and in the new one, he sees like his
$1 million or something.
Yeah.
They're like, we're back in business.
We're back in. Yeah, so that was pretty good.
That was a good callback.
Yeah. So anyway, it's got a. Actually, I've been watching this show called Alone. Have you seen this? It's with
no.
Basically, they put these people in the woods and just say you got to live like this, and whoever taps out loses. I guess we're to the point now where everybody's pretty much starving, and I guess they're just waiting for every.
You make it sound like it's a reality show.
Yes, it is a reality show.
Okay. So it's probably not whatever I just IMDb'd, because this is not a reality show.
Well, probably not. But yeah, basically they just all like make their huts and stuff. I think they have like implements they can choose, and then basically they just leave them out there to starve until they decide to tap out. And it's pretty entertaining. It's like, oh, I caught a fish, or these people are eating like fish that washed up on shore and stuff. I'm like, that's probably not
good to eat. I think that's a bad idea.
I wouldn't think so. The guy's like, well, this one has worms, but I think it's just in the guts. I'm like, all right,
okay.
But he seemed not to get sick from it, so it's pretty interesting. You've seen the new Twitter Blue stuff. Twitter got bought by Elon Musk. He was going to make everybody, verified if they paid $8, and now he's not doing that exactly. So now you got to pay $8, and you get Twitter Blue, and you get a interesting name thing, but doesn't mean you're like famous. So I was a little bit disappointed about that, because I was kind of like, That might be worth $8, but I
Well,
don't feel like it's
just
worth
by selling it
$8.
for $8 devalued the whole thing. The whole value of having a blue check mark was that hardly anybody had one.
Right.
And if everybody has one, then it's really worth nothing.
One thing about Twitter though, I did notice if you post a mystery cable on there, people definitely talk about that.
They do. Do you have any certainty what your cable would be used for?
So I posted a picture of a cable on Twitter, and it had I think the consensus was one side was a mini DIN connector.
Oh, that's definitely a DIN. It's a 7-pin DIN with a little plastic key in the middle somewhere.
Right. And then the other side looks like a mini USB, but I'm not even sure if that's right. So
It's got to be mini USB. Well, it's the right. I'm not saying it connects to USB. It might be. You could abuse cables for anything ports for anything. If you're designing hardware, you could do whatever you want. But like I know you said on the go cable, but on the go I don't think really showed up in any hardware until after phones were all shipping with micro USB.
well, that was my initial guess. I don't actually think it's that at this point. But even when I posted it, to be honest.
But that's what's weird. If it's a Roomba cable, and somebody posted a picture of a Roomba cable that looks very much like that, what is a Roomba plugging into with a mini U? I don't even. I'm baffled, and I want to know more, Jeremy.
I don't know. Well, anyway, it's kind of like it's like a mystery of you unearth this new pyramid and you have no idea who was built it. It's like technical archaeology or something. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to think. I guess that's kind of what we wanted to say. I guess one thing, for me, just looking at my goals for 2023, one thing I want to kind of look at is I want to figure out how to balance learning with getting paid and maybe track my time better. No, I mean, because, a lot of articles I write, it's like, okay, I got paid this and, maybe the hourly rate's good, maybe it's bad, maybe whatever. But, it's almost like I have to balance, learning with getting paid with kind of the exposure that I get and just kind of I can't do one without the other.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of trying to
triangle. You said 3 different things.
So
that makes it
it's kind of like do you want something good? Do you want it fast? Yeah. Or do you want it cheap? It's kind of like that with me. It's like, do I need to learn? Do I need to get paid more? Or do I need to get exposure? And hopefully all of those are good, but usually I have to kind of balance it. So that's one thing I kind of want to, I don't know.
Most people don't realize how much work goes into writing, 1,000, 2,000 word article. If you don't, there's research, even if it's not purposeful research. Everything that I write, I've done something. I've done work and then summarized it, essentially, right? So there's hours of tinkering or reading or research or something ahead of sitting down and doing the easy part and writing the article at the end.
Yeah. And, I guess the thing is, in theory, the more I learn, the easier it is to do, more articles. So it's like, if my hourly rate isn't so good here, then, maybe later, I'm getting effectively paid twice as much. But, then the technology changes and you got to start it all over again. So it's kind of I don't know.
And you use the word exposure. I don't think that's the word I would use, but the more exposure you have, the more you make on your future writing. Like our blogs, every 6 months our traffic was pretty much doubling for years. So when you're getting 10 visits a day, you feel like, boy, I'm writing all this stuff and nobody's reading it. But then 10 becomes 20, becomes 40, becomes 1,000 before you know it, just because you're putting in that time and putting in the content and
Yeah. No, I think exposure is maybe it's a word that people are like, oh, you can't work for exposure, and that's absolutely true. But I don't know. It's even like this.
building up
even like this,
reputation and following and
right?
yeah.
Well, I mean, even this podcast, it's not like we get paid a whole lot for it, but it is something that we get some huge benefits from, as far as, people we get to meet, and just kind of putting, people know me, I suppose, from this. People know you. People know, even Max, our old host, Max Maker, and people that are on here, they get that benefit too, of people being able to know who they are. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like, actually, one time, somebody had him on before. Anyway, it was just he wanted to get in contact. He had a business opportunity for another guest, and I had on. I'm like, yeah, I can connect you guys. So I don't quite know what happened, but what's that?
It's networking.
Yeah, but
All of this comes down to networking in one way or another.
Yeah, but anyway, in that particular instance, I felt like it was cool that I got to, like, maybe put two people together that could benefit from each other's.
If we roll back a bit to Twitter, to our Twitter discussion, it doesn't matter how many followers you have on Twitter. It matters that you've accrued the right particular followers and the right interactions. Because, like you said, we're doing this podcast together here because of Twitter.
Right.
Right. It doesn't matter if I had 1,000 followers at the time, or I was. It matters that you were following me at that time, or I was, or whatever that.
Right.
And we were interacting. That was what was important. I could have had 3 followers as long as one of them was you. That this may have worked out, right? That's
Well, that's very nice of you to say, but it's true. It's not a compliment necessarily, but it's a interesting reality.
Well, I'm just trying to say that the actual number of followers, the actual number of people reading your things doesn't matter. It matters that the right people are reading and consuming your content.
You know what's
you
interesting?
You could buy 100,000 Twitter followers for $20 or something, but it's just a number. None of those fake followers are going to invite you to be a co-host on their podcast, right?
Well, that's true. At least you wouldn't think so.
No, it's very unlikely.
You know what's funny? I was talking to this. I was telling this to somebody the other day. Telling them what I do. I was like, yeah, I've written for Popular Science. I've written, I like to throw that out there because it just sounds important. Even though apparently it's not a print magazine anymore, but anyway. Anyway, and I said, what's interesting is I'll write like white papers for different industrial things, and it seems to me like the fewer people that read what I write, the more I get paid for it, and it's really kind of weird. But I guess what you're saying is basically, and what kind of conclusion I came to as well, is that even if 100 people read this, even 10 people read this, if that one person is Jeff Bezos and he buys $100 million worth of rocket deal things,
Yep.
then I need to be charging more actually. So
Yep, it all depends, and it's hard to figure out.
Yeah, and I don't have the answer. I've been able to make a living at this, but it's it's always like you just I guess it's always business. You're always figuring out things as you go, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get paid to write, Jeremy. I enjoy writing, and I think that would suck all of the fun right out of it.
Yeah, well, like some time ago, one of my customers, they wanted somebody else to write for them, and I contacted you. I was like, yeah, you interested? And
I remember this.
He's like, no, I don't want to be paid for this. I was like,
no,
that is a strange
I know
thing.
from, sometimes you hit a blog topic that gets traction on Google, right, in the search results. And sometimes you have a blog that's got some profitable, affiliate links or something in it. And they're not always the same, but every now and then they meet, right? And you get something that's popular and has profit potential in it. But sometimes those topics are the worst to write. They're not enjoyable, they're not fun, they're not... And I hate chasing those. I've done that before, and I'm like, I didn't like doing that. I need to just it would be nice if it just happened that something profitable was also fun.
Yeah.
But
well, I guess somebody else decided to do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, all things considered, though, I'm quite happy with what I do. But it's always a a mindset of how can you make more money? How can you do things more efficiently? How can you have more fun? How can you do more things that you're interested in? And half the time, it's just trying to niche down and make sure I'm not like going off and doing something I shouldn't be. Not shouldn't be, but I had a video I haven't published about refinishing my baritone ukulele, and it's like
I think you should publish it.
think I should publish. I
I
honestly
do.
I thought
Well,
about.
the
Go ahead.
people I'm watching on YouTube that tell you how to do better at YouTube are saying you niching down is old school, and that's not what you should be doing
Hmm.
anymore.
I don't
Like,
know. I honestly kind of thought, well, maybe I should make like another channel, but then I don't have time for that. You know what I
yep.
mean? So
Well, and that's something else we learned when we put up me and Brian put up a third blog, and we were able to get that from 0 to hundreds of clicks per day in. Yeah, I think the first 3 months were crickets, and then it shot up to a few hundred clicks per day. And the idea being what we've kind of figured out is if you plateau one thing, if it's not growing faster, it's easy to get another thing
to that plateau.
start another thing to catch up and ride your other wave.
Yeah, I mean maybe so I guess what you're saying is maybe it would be worth starting another channel, or
Yeah,
maybe.
it could. Well, I don't know how YouTube and Google algorithms are different but similar. So
Hmm.
I don't know for sure, but I suspect that yes, I think if you start another channel, it can catch up with your other one
Interesting.
pretty quickly.
Well, I don't know. I guess with that it's like it's just a matter of I wish I had 36 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So, but maybe that's my biggest goal for 2023. Just try to use my time more efficiently and just get some
Time
awesome projects
management.
done. What's that?
Time management.
Time management.
It's a
Yeah.
hard problem, Jeremy.
Um, but yeah, well, I mean, I think I don't know. You feel like we've covered what we needed to, Pat?
I feel like there was an important thing we were going to say, but
Was there?
I wanted to ask you about your macro pad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard you're putting side buttons on there.
So yeah, that's one thing I working on. I got the macro pad here. You can see it a little bit, hopefully.
Oh, you've got two buttons on one
Yeah,
side.
I got two buttons on one side. So this macro pad I'm working on, this is new JC Pro Macro 2. It's got removable keys, and then I'm working on some actual side buttons that you can. I don't know what you'll do with it. It's still a bit of an experimental thing, but it's should be pretty cool. Also using the KB 2040 by Adafruit, which is an RP 2040 baseboard, so it should be a lot easier to edit.
That's
and
from the
stuff.
Raspberry Pi folks.
Yes, it's from Raspberry Pi. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, and I guess that's one thing. I need to go ahead and finish this second Kickstarter so I can, basically harvest the money, harvest the time that I've already put into it for money and fun and profit and such.
Oh, I
So
like that, Jeremy. You've planted a crop.
I've planted a crop
And
and I have to harvest it. I can't let it just wither on the vine like I've been doing for the last month or two.
Yep.
So
Well, I'm excited about the side buttons.
yeah, well I'll have
You
to.
put them on the wrong side for me. I want the button on the other side.
Well, the great thing is you can see here I've got dowel pins that are basically holding these buttons in. So there's actually
Yep.
holes for the dowel pins on the other side,
Oh,
depending
nice.
depending on how you would want to use them. So maybe perhaps you'll be getting one of these bases to try out, Pat.
Ooh,
If
I'm
you
excited, Jeremy.
if you like. So
I heard that. You clunked right into that.
I did clunk right into it.
Watch your head.
Watch my head. Yeah. Yeah. But
But that's another thing that you get to. I'm going back to that word exposure. That's the wrong word. But you've had a successful Kickstarter, and this will be a second one, and that's
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it'll say one successful Kickstarter on your page. It'll say there was a previous one. You get to mention it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
get to
no,
talk about how you fulfilled it.
it is cool how, one thing as far as maybe not content wise, but as far as like products wise, it does build on each other. One thing that's been pretty successful this year is my Easy Fan 2 boards that are used to power Raspberry Pi fans primarily and other stuff like that. I designed those a year or two ago, and they're still, I'm still selling a few of, couple a week, but it's not like a ton of money, but it's enough that it's a nice, like, oh, I get an order. I just put it in the mail and, you know,
Yeah.
kind of nice. So it's nice to have that just kind of, I guess you're just banking, as you said, again, as you said, not exposure, but just kind of some stuff that maybe tastes some long-term benefits. So,
Yeah, and maybe the right person buys your macro pad, and then it ends up on Linus Tech Tips
oh
or
man,
something.
maybe.
Yeah.
And then I got to figure out how to fulfill way more.
Yeah, then you need to too many orders. But you know what I mean. There's a you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
something in the right hands, and then the right networking happens. And
I know what you mean. I feel like for the first one, I had it was like I got that good. I got like enough, again, exposure because we're not supposed to say that, but we've been saying it over and over. I got guys, some people to basically put it out there that maybe weren't like, they weren't Matt Perks famous, but they were somewhat well known. So I got a,
yeah,
somewhere around 200 orders, but not like 10,000 orders because I wouldn't know what to do with,
yeah,
so.
yeah. At what point between 200 and 10,000 do you get scared?
Ooh.
Do you get worried that it's gonna?
I think
Scared is the wrong word, but I'm gonna stick with it anyway.
I think I could handle 600.
Okay. So 200 was pretty good then because it didn't
200
it
was
didn't
good.
reach your scary zone, but it was a good percentage of it.
600 would be a bit much. But
Yep.
at that point, at some point, I guess you try to get the whole thing made for you, or I don't know, hire some help. So
Yep.
it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have.
So
So Jeremy, where can we find you on the internet?
so yeah, on the internet, my website's jeremyscook.com. I don't update that much. You can also find me on YouTube. You could, if you search for Jeremy Cook or Jeremy S. Cook, I'll come up. And then on Twitter, I do use that. I'm at Jeremy S. Cook. And yeah, I'm around. Also, I've been doing a course on Raspberry Pi stuff, Raspberry Pi products on embedded computing. So I'm actually doing like a live class every month or so.
Embedded Computing is a website.
Yeah, embeddedcomputing.com. And anyway, it's been cool. Actually, I don't know that they advertise this well enough, but they're actually giving away a Pico, Raspberry Pi Pico when you sign up for the course. So, that's pretty
Cool.
that's pretty neat. So, but yeah, what about you, Pat? Where can we find you?
Well, I think the only place you have to go to find me is patshead.com. That's my website. It has links to everywhere else where I show up, and that's where my stuff all lives.
Good. Well,
And I'm on this podcast.
yeah, that's right. And yeah,
This is the Create/Invent podcast.
yep, as which is where you could find me as well. So, yeah, so patshead.com, you want to find Pat, then that's where he's at. Yeah.
I am.
So, anyway, thanks so much for listening to us tonight and watching us. And Pat, I hope you have a great Christmas, happy holidays, and a great New Year. And I will talk to you in 2023. So
You too, Jeremy, and I hope everyone else has a fantastic holiday season here.
all right,
Because there's 27 holidays
really
going on right now. I don't know if it's 27. It's a lot.
all right. Well, see you later.
See you later. I lost my mouse pointer. There it is.